Hi, everybody. You are listening to another episode of Cloud and Clear. That's SADA's Cloud Transformation Podcast. I am your host, Miles Ward, and today we are very pleased. I am personally pleased to welcome Joe Intrakamhang. He is the head of data management and cost optimization at Verily to the show. Everybody give him a big round of applause. Yay, amazing. You have to kind of imagine the round of applause in these recording things. It's just a part of the sensation. But I know that you're over there. You're clapping it out. Thank you for that. Before we get started, don't forget to click that like button, smash the subscribe. Our channel is the Fly channel on whatever your platform of consumption. That'll let you stay up to date with the latest Cloud and Clear episodes from SADA. We're bringing you the hotness as regularly as we can. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you being here. Joe, from way up top, right? We've been working on this project together now for coming up on almost a year. But I don't, many folks aren't aware of Verily and its mission, where it comes from. Maybe you can give us the not the 30,000 foot view, maybe come down to like tree level. What's going on with Verily?
Yeah. So Verily is a Alphabet Google healthcare technology company. We were born out of Google's X's research division to really tackle the hard healthcare problems, moonshot problems within the healthcare space. So we're really, in a way, a precision healthcare company, and I could go a little bit more into that in the sense of data is the key to being able to be a precision healthcare company, and that's one of the intersections that where we're at.
Data is going to solve all the bits. I totally get that. What, given precise medical data about customers, what kinds of problems does that let you solve? What can you do?
Yeah. So some of the things that we're looking that we have released and we're about to create is around just being able to help with precision healthcare. Like, how do we create a system of like prescribing the right care for them and using their data, third party data, whatever it may be, to be an AI coach is something we're building. Is with between the patient and their coach themselves. How do you help them get better in with their disease?
Got it. Okay, so I think Verily as this sort of function inside Google. Google is sort of famous for laying out platforms as a strategy, right? Like search is an incredible platform. YouTube is an incredible platform. You've been talking about kind of to us data as a platform. Can you maybe lay out what that means in Verily's context?
Yeah, so data as a platform is necessary to become the precision healthcare company. And part of this, of being part of Alphabet and being part of this, is graduating from Alphabet, from Google X, and being our own company itself. And this is part of why we need to bring all of our data and bring our data to create the platform into a separate, into our own company from Google and over to Verily's area. So this is one of the reasons that we hired SADA to really help us with our data migration to get us to a point where we have the data product platform.
There's a lot of components that are being used. I mean, like the scale of that migration, I think is daunting by any measure. I've led hundreds of migrations, but 50 plus petabytes active, tens of thousands of GCS buckets, tens of thousands of BigQuery tables. I mean, that's just big by anybody's measure. It really represents a massive undertaking by your org. It certainly was, a focused effort by ours. Um, you know, to take something like that on, you got to have a reason. Like, what were the goals? What were you trying to get done? Given all of this work.
Yeah, so part of the graduation of any Google X project is the ability to be standing as an independent company. And in order to do that, we had
Hmm.
to get off of Google proprietary system. And we've been around for since 2015. So that's a lot of data that we've collected over the last 9 years. And that we need to move off into our own Google Cloud instance itself. And with it, it was just part of the migration of how do we make sure that everything that we've developed over the 9 years, we have that data, that we have access to that data to have the data products that we need to build off of that and continue to build off of that. So that's what, as you mentioned, with a lot of the stats around it, it's a huge undertaking. Probably one of the bigger GCP migrations itself, data migrations, and moving all this data as a way of saying that we're moving it from many, like 4,000 homes into a single home itself with all this data that we're making available for our employees to use.
Yeah, I mean, for folks in the audience, like imagine you're doing a startup and you have this genius uncle. Let's use a placeholder for his name as Urs. And this genius uncle of yours, Urs, also happens to have hundreds of data centers located around the world. And he says, I'm just going to hand code from you, bespoke from scratch, all the tools you need for everything. And then all of a sudden, Urs just, decides New Zealand sounds great. And you've got to figure out how to kind of run this stuff on your own. It's not that you made bad choices at the beginning. I would hang out with Urs all the time. He seems like a great guy, maybe a little cranky, but great. Uh, but maybe the code is fairly specific to those proprietary systems. And if this is the first time that Alphabet has ever done one of these migrations, or at least the first time with anywhere near this amount of technical infrastructure, you have to imagine it's not like there's a best practices guide. There's no like, here's where the hard parts are. Here's like, oh, you got to sort of double check here. There's more documentation for Google's cloud than there is for Google's not cloud. So that certainly made coordination and reconciliation of these systems, super fraught. I'm proud of the contribution by our teams. I think your teams have been absolutely exceptional in the pursuit of this thing. Maybe you can share with us, Joe, any kind of initial results or outcomes?
Yeah. So with the migration itself, the reason that we really, like you mentioned, bring this all together was that hiring SADA and using our own is that we have former Googlers, Google employees that understand it. So a lot of the documentation is just working with at this size and scale is working with product management, understanding the ins and outs of these systems themselves and how to move this sheer amount of data as quickly as possible, given our timelines. So with that, we were able to move once we get everything with access controls and everything in play and actually started building the execution, started running with it. We've moved over, we had 50 petabytes worth of data. And within there, we moved like about 90% of it within the month of it. It was just pure using pointers, pointer copies, and other things like that. So we didn't have to rewrite bytes, but this just required an intimate knowledge of how the systems work and working together between both parties, and actually all three parties, Google, us, and SADA, just to like get this executing at the right speed to show this, to highlight this, and it's winning over people.
Yeah, no, I think it would have been, I was super excited to be involved in this project because we have enough ex-Googler, Zoogler, that gets called sometimes, folks and access to Google product management and Google Cloud leadership to be able to kind of help with that internal lingua franca and make it so it's simpler to pursue the nuance of something like a migration that this would take. And I remember, I'm on the same, weekly update distro that gets sent out, and I was like, oh man, we're only at like 9 petabytes or something like that, and the next one I get, it says like 41 or something. I'm like, oh yeah, like this is working. That's pretty good. Like, so I remember setting up this crazy network topology to move off of then Twitter's totally broken, absolutely broken private data centers into GCP. And while they moved a total of more data than you did, they are moving it slower than you moved it. So that's kudos to the team and really an incredible piece of work there.
Yeah, we were all getting worried too, because everyone was worried about the transfer speed. Because it's like 50 petabytes, copying that much data in a short amount of time frame. It's like we're going to run up to the end of the year, but then all of a sudden, like you said, that lever just cranking that really quickly. Like, oh man, we're making it through. Nice. It
But
feels
that
good.
always used to be the thing, right? Like I remember feeling like I'm remembering like on my early college network, I had a cool computer. I think I was the first person with a Windows 2000 computer. And so I screwed up the campus's DNS and all this kind of thing. And I could tell my computer was better than everybody else's computer because I had a RAID. And so when you copied from me, it went faster than when everybody else copied from somebody else. So that was like a real sign that you had your technical act together. Google, it turns out, does not have a RAID. They have 70 plus tons of new magnetic disk a day. And so, there is some throughput to be had, right? Like the performance is really a gobsmacking thing to see in practice.
Yeah, no, it's great to see that the team is feeling good.
That's great to hear. And thank you for that. Beyond this migration, right? Like maybe narrow in for us on the real business impact, not just for Verily, but for your customers.
Yeah, so with our customers, by having the data, so then our data scientists across the globe can be able to use, and with our customers as well, is be able to use this data to continue to do their modeling. I mean, as everyone's talking about AI and actually just helping out. Some of the products that we have announced really around this that we're building out to is called like LightPath. Is really how do we take AI and provide like what I was talking about, the necessary coaching and helpfulness that we can provide to them with using this. But also with it, just with other AI models that we have, is just really like how do we speed up some of the nuances that we have by just understanding some of the PDFs that we do have for our clinical trials, is so that we just created some LLM models with it, being able 12 LLM models, just trying to figure this all out, of like making it work faster and better. And that's a system called Signal Path that we release out there.
It would be a shame for us to not be talking about AI, right? As that sits in the beating heart of what Verily is focused on. It certainly is an area of great focus for our customers. You're what did Gibson say? The future's here already. It's just not evenly distributed. You're sitting maybe on the positive part of the curve associated with access to the future. Maybe you can share a little about that future with the rest of us. So, any predictions for the next 6 months? What do you think we're going to start to hear about around research and life sciences, around AI and healthcare? What kind of stuff do you think is getting easier, is getting more accessible for folks?
That's a good question. I think some of the things that we're noticing around is around equity around healthcare itself. How do you make it more equitable itself? So, with A/B testing, sometimes it doesn't pan out to be an equitable testing about like who are the people that actually do need it and how do you bring that across. So, some of the frameworks that we created, and it was another research paper that was released, and it was handled by. Also, these techniques are used by like Netflix and Stitch Fix and others, called Equitable, Restless, Multi-Arm Bandit. So it's a reinforcement learning around our A/B testing. So it's a big, lots of acronyms there. But
I want
it's
to make
really,
sure that I said that right. That's equitable, restless, multi-arm bandit.
yes. Yeah,
That's
so it's a new
ridiculous.
paper
I
that
love it.
yeah, it's a very, very fancy way of A/B testing that's equitable. Instead of your standard A/B testing, it's just how do you distribute this and how
That's
do you make it, yeah.
there's Tim O'Reilly, who's the founder of O'Reilly Media, has all those funny books, and he just was convinced that all of the open source software products just had silly names that to him felt like zoology, right? They're just like names of stupid alien animals from another planet or something. And so when he started making the books, he just like grabbed random pictures of animals and stuck them on the front. And now that's why you've got books that have weirdo animals all over them. And that's where all of us learned a huge amount of technology context because Tim O'Reilly thought that was a funny joke. So, we got to figure out what
What?
part of the animal kingdom looks mostly like an equitable. I've already lost it. Uh, uh,
Restless.
do it again for me. Equitable multi-armed bandit. I got three of the four.
Restless is, I think, the R.
Restless. So
Yeah.
what's a not well, sharks don't sleep. So you got that. But like is the hammerhead shark the fairest shark
Yeah.
because it's got the sort of balance in front of it, something like that. So you need like like a bandit muchacho looking hammerhead shark. I think that's a totally reasonable logo. I'm happy to support
Yeah.
that.
I think we throw it to Gemini, see what it generates, what type of image.
You're right,
Go from
exactly.
there.
You don't want my terrible impersonation of an AI. Let's get a real AI in here and see if we can figure this out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty
so I
fun.
think that's
Well,
key. Well, I mean, AI is not going to solve the healthcare problem by itself. It's going to help supplement our humans in the healthcare space. And it's an important piece for this. And this is where we're seeing this space happen, where we continue to build this out within Verily. It's just how do we get the right care for the right people with the precision? And that's just with data as well.
right. No, I mean, I think we're watching it probably more accurately be used as IA, intelligence augmentation, as opposed to artificial intelligence in most cases. But happy to roll with the industry as they continue to try to help. And I think there's effectively unlimited use cases. I've been asked by people like, where's your list? I'm like, come on, dude. It's sort of, help for every job role in every function in every company everywhere, something roughly like that. So, I think there's a lot of exciting opportunity. I really appreciate, Verily having the faith in us to join you on this journey to help you, spring from a great place to what's next. And excited to partner with you, Joe, on kind of this ongoing pursuit. Anything you want to leave, any final insights for folks that are taking on kind of a similar journey or folks that are contemplating one?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. It goes around all the prep time it takes to move an organization from one area to another. A huge migration at an organization level requires a lot of planning. As shown, like we spent more time planning than actual execution that we were able to make this happen. Is that making sure that, hey, do we understand everything that we're moving, but also just moving with the flow as there's always going to be edge cases like around security policy or whatever virtual VPC controls that may virtual private cloud or whatever it is, or restrictions to data, and just working through that, just making sure that you understand the list and then trying to get access to it. And how do you go around that? Because that's going to be the biggest roadblock we have was how do you move an organization and with all the folders and all the projects from one to another and just understanding that. And once we got that going and building the right necessary tooling, because it's going to be more about coordination more than anything. It's like with automation and making sure we move everything that we said we're going to move. It just now is flowing it's working like a machine, like as expected. And it's ahead of schedule and yeah.
If you have 9 files and 3 of them are called copy of file 1, you should probably like go to a UI and drag and drop and watch the little progress bar. When you have hundreds of billions of files, it
Yeah.
is probably time to break out an IDE and start to think constructively about what is exactly the most efficient way to do this stuff. It is certainly the way that we approached it, and I appreciate your collaboration in that. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time today and for all the super clear, great answers. I know that our audience will be stoked about that. For everybody that's in the audience, I know you're not going to want to miss the exclusive insights that come from incredible leaders like Joe. Verily, we will see you next time on Cloud and Clear. Anything you want to say, Joe, to send people off?
Nah,
I feel like this
gotta
is the
think
scene
enough. Everything.
from
Yeah,
The
just think
Fifth
about that.
Element, where
Yeah.
I'm Ruby Rod holding the mic,
Yeah.
and that makes you Bruce Willis, which is pretty awesome if you think about it.
Oh, that would be yes. What a great movie. I don't have anything else, but thank you for the time. I was just thinking about just looking at yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to Cloud and Clear. Check the show notes for links to this week's topics, And don't forget to connect with us on Twitter @Cloud and Clear and our website, sada.com.